Good morning, everybody.
So we're each recording, and you want us to
So if
pin
you could pin
each
Chris
other's
on your
video.
screen, yep, and Chris, you can pin Sarah on your screen. And Sarah, you're not using your mic anymore. What's with that?
I'm at home. I'm using my
That's
computer
fine.
that I keep at home.
That's fine.
So
Please give us permission to record, Bob.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Participants. Allowed to record local files.
There we go. Boom.
Allowed to record local
I'm
files.
recording. Everything you say can
and
Okay.
will be recorded and used against you.
And I
Not
need
used
to
against you.
stop my video. And
All right. So I still have a little Bob screen up in the corner.
yeah, I'm making it go away right now. Hide non-video.
You have to,
so
well,
am I gone now?
You are gone, except for a little box that says "Talking Bob Farnham."
I'll be quiet. I'll do the best I can with whatever you guys put out. Fair enough.
Should we get started?
I still don't know what we're talking about.
We're talking about our update in the legislature, budget stuff, lack of activism, not in a preachy way, but in an FYI, it really has an impact. And since we're about to figure out how to spend, what is it, $900 million, we could really use your help.
You could send some my way.
Yeah, I mean, other than the 100 million
education.
we're going to give to Bob, there's
Yeah.
still a big question mark.
You know, 100 million would cover it, I think.
And we'll steer clear of the thornier issues of the day. Okay. And something I've been gnawing at me, but you know, our scale of approach in this whole matter is so out of whack with the timeline that the world gives us. But anyway, one step at a time today.
Yeah, we need to be mindful that all of the difficulties here are compounded by the fact that we're still in the middle of a pandemic and people's lives have been turned on end.
Well, and is it legit for me to talk about the stimulus money, recovery money, as a way to try to make up the scale? I mean, can't go the wrong way, I guess. So,
yeah.
All right, let's get started. Top of the morning to you.
How are you, Chris? It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you. I'm doing okay. We're recording on Monday, which is a little unusual. So hopefully more refreshed. Did you have any fun this weekend?
No, a lot of work this weekend.
Sorry.
It's not quite springtime yet, so it's not nice enough to get out and do a whole lot of yard work, but.
We went to a sugar shack, and indeed the sap is not flowing. It's concerning. And I learned a little more details. I've always been fascinated by sugar making, but they want, of course, an extreme shift in temperature between night and day. Mm-hmm. And we're not having that because of our old friend, global warming. Yeah. It's been more warm through the night, and that really interrupts sap flow. So just another example of our industry that will take a hit from climate change.
Yeah. Our maple industry and our ski industry, I think, are probably both feeling the impacts and on the ropes. And so saving our winters, saving our climate is as much about the way of life that we've all come to expect and love here in Vermont. The ability to have fresh maple syrup. It's one of the rites of passage of spring, right? We made it to spring. Get some fresh maple syrup. Let's see what we can do to turn climate change around.
Yeah, and I, we're past the point of halting it, but can we slow the change? And that remains to be seen. It's a big question for sure. We want to talk a little bit about. I hope we'll talk about public engagement and activists and our youth and the voices that have really made our jobs much easier pushing climate priorities on legislators. But there is some good news. The House passed the budget over to the Senate. That's the way it works. So what did you guys do?
Well, we've got a budget coming your way that that puts a huge slug of money into some of our climate priorities. Within that context, we talk about the priorities that are in the transportation budget realm, and we've got those now packaged in a way that you can really look and see what are the climate investments that we're making in the transportation world. More money for EV charging, EV incentives, placeholders for weatherization. We know we need to build that out. We need to put a lot more money into weatherization so that we can get Vermonters' homes sealed up and more efficient to run. And so the first passage of the budget is on its way over to you, and we look forward to doing what we can do to beef it up. And in the context of that conversation, we'll come back in a moment to talk about what some of the American Recovery Plan money and climate infrastructure money might mean for the state.
Great. There's a broadband bill too that I think is coming over. Actually, will be in my committee, Senate Finance, which is I think I'm right in saying getting ready for a slug of federal money.
Yes. Yep. Putting in place a lot of the supports that we need to really maximize the communications union district model. And this is the model that recognizes that, if it were profitable to extend fiber to the last mile, the big companies would have already done it. And so smaller communities are jumping in, forming their own planning committee and communication union district structure so that they can collaborate across towns and across regions of the state. And this really gets at the heart of how we support those CUDs, those communication union districts, and then gets ready for the influx of federal money, because thankfully, under the Biden administration, the federal government is really listening to the outcry that says we need broadband and infrastructure in our rural parts of our states. And so we're looking for a big slug of that.
A lot of those investments, it's hard to understand the scale, because you hear the headlines about the legislature does $10 million here and $100 million there. And those are just absurd numbers, right? Totally out of touch with anything that families deal with. But the broadband, a lot of the big challenges, broadband, building bridges, these big infrastructure things are at a scale where Vermont's revenue in the state budget is never going to come close. I mean, what we do is offer like $2 million to help a bunch of these rural CUDs, community union districts, which are municipalities, get set up. And but that money doesn't help them put up a single pole or one wire, right? And so it can be hard, I think, for people to understand that our best shot in some ways is to enable the planning and the engineering work so that when the feds come in with real money, we're ready to go. And as I understand it, that's what we're doing. And people have talked for years about green jobs as a way to grow the economy. This is what we're talking about. Green jobs are not all solar panels. It's like building fiber and building parking rides. I love parking rides, things like that. Anyway, I just pointed out the scale, but we are trying to do what we can to be ready for that influx of relief money from the federal government.
Yep. And it's wise to do that. We did put out a call for ideas from folks a couple weeks ago. So if you had an idea that was sparked by that conversation, please send it along. And if you have no idea what we're talking about, go back a couple of weeks and take a peek at that, because I think the more we can start talking within our communities about, hey, what do we need that is an infrastructure investment, and how can we get prepared for it? Because we've got a slug of money that's coming from the feds. Some of it's going to come directly to our communities, and we need our small towns to be ready for that. And some of it'll come to help with the build out of broadband, and others parts of it will come to help us do that weatherization that our homes need. So
Badly
a lot
needed.
to look forward to.
Well, and the federal money is not just a blank check, right? It doesn't. It comes with conditions and parameters of how we can use it. We're still trying to figure that out. That's going to be an ongoing process, as we saw a year ago with the first recovery money. But I've noticed something, Sarah, and I wonder if it's true on the House side too. I suspect it is. But in the last few years, the Climate Solutions Caucus, I was one of the co-founders, and I want to say it was 2012 we began. And it's still been hard, even though 50 plus legislators have been engaged in this since the beginning. It's still been hard to push meaningful climate bills across the finish line until a couple of years ago. Something changed, and I credit Greta from sailing across the ocean. But there was just, there was the climate strikes, there was the young people in particular got seriously engaged, and folks in Montpelier around me on the Senate side, and I assume you on the House side, took notice. They were like, wow, the young people in particular are very worried about that. I remember that even the governor acknowledged to us that the people most consistently bringing it up to him were when he visited high schools. And
Yeah.
I think the pandemic and the chaos generally in lives is stressful these days, has probably taken some of that energy out. And I'm not hearing from that outcry from activists. And I wonder, are you?
Yeah, so I'm not really, and I miss it. And one of my favorite markers of how impactful the youth voice has been in the way that that activism really tweaked people who want to deny climate as a problem. I mean, it's really interesting to see that sort of visceral, you kids should be seen and not heard kind of an attitude. And you and I have always been of the same mind as many of our Climate Caucus members are, which is we absolutely need the voice of our young people. I mean, they're the ones who have to live for another 70 years on this planet. So get out and get active, because we need to hear your voices. Yeah, I mean, it has been strangely silent, and it's not hard to understand why. We're all spending way too much time on the computer. But if there was a spark or a piece of energy that I think is really missing, I think you've landed on it, that we need a little more of that.
And the thing that I'm struck by is, frankly, even our best successes of bills, we're very proud of the Global Warming Solutions Act last year, some of our investments in sustainable transportation. We have done some good things for sure. But we are by and large nowhere near the scale, the pace of progress compared to the science, compared to what science is telling us to do. So I want to weave this together for anybody that's watching, because we are about to figure out how to spend hundreds of millions of dollars coming into the state. And if we don't have more voices saying, invest this in yes, we need recovery. We need a stronger economy. We need to recognize the cost of the pandemic and address the injustice and keep, shelter over people and food on their plates. but we need to do that in a way wherever possible that invests in climate infrastructure. And we need your help, because if we waste this opportunity, well, shame on us. And on the other hand, we have a great opportunity to invest in local foods. And we've already talked about broadband and sustainable transportation and in weatherization and ongoing sort of educational effort around these issues and workforce training to engage in. I don't know, I'm just spouting off, but we need help. We need your energy
Yeah.
to urge the legislature to use that ARA money, American Recovery Relief Act. Is that what ARA is? Let's go with it.
I'm
Should
not
have
good
really
with
looked that up.
acronyms.
To use the federal money to make meaningful investments that help our climate infrastructure. Please help us with that.
Yeah, that's a great call to action for the week. I think the other way that I would point folks to getting more involved and getting more information is to take a look at what's going on in the Climate Council. We set them up with a very aggressive timeline to come back to us by the end of this year with some proposals that we can begin to work on in the next legislative session. So they have their subcommittees all set up. Their subcommittees are busily working, and you can follow along on any of those by going to the Agency of Administration Climate Council page, and you can see all of the past meetings. They're all recorded, which is, another one of the silver linings of this global pandemic. I don't remember a time ever in the past where you could see every single minute of every single meeting that's going on. And so it's a great opportunity for folks to really drill down, pick one of the subcommittees that you're most interested in and take a look at what they're doing. And then, if you have ideas, reach out to us or reach out to some of the folks who are sitting on those subcommittees and get your ideas out there.
And I think to echo that, a lot of times people say, oh, well, they've got it. They will figure it out. They are smart people. They are smart people. They're thoughtful people, but this is improvised. Nobody has fixed the climate crisis before. No country, there's no state or jurisdiction or anywhere in the world where you can just go, oh, let's just do what they're doing. They've nailed it. So we do need ideas. We need Vermont-sized scale ideas on every front. And it really, really makes a huge difference. So that's our message for the week. Please help. Please engage. And, Sarah and I and others are going to be fighting right there, but a little oomph from the outside goes a long way.
It sure does. And, longing for the day when we can get back to those in-person meetings, like the town hall style meetings that we had, in the lead up to the last legislative session. But in the meantime, shoot us an email and share your thoughts.
Sarah, have a good week. Hang in there.
Thank you.
Thanks to Bob the Green Guy for pulling this together. And as always, take care.